and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you've been with me since January of 2023, you will know that Embracing the Fight is about normalizing the conversation surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. Now, why would anybody want to tell you what's wrong with them? Nobody does, right? And because they don't, that's why a lot of things get left out or passed over, and you wonder what happened to a person, and then you turn around and you're dealing with it and don't know what to do. So if you can normalize that conversation, if you can get people to candidly talk about their issues, then the healing can begin. So like I said, if you're a faithful follower, you'll know that I started the conversation off talking about my journey through thyroid cancer. And as it continues, I'll be able to give you some updates in July when I go back to the doctor. However, I need you to take a moment to click subscribe, click like, click share, and comment on this podcast if you feel so. I mean, I would love to know what you think, good, bad, or otherwise, to help us grow. Because once this message goes out into the world, this is the message that can heal. All right. Now that I got all that out of the way, we are going to talk about episode 70. The title of the episode is Defended.
If you have anybody who's a good leader,
Mm-hmm.
all good leaders always say it's my fault.
But they're never perfect in saying that it's their fault.
There's an understanding.
They
There's an
accept the
understanding.
responsibility.
Yes.
They move to the next thing and they grow from that. They don't keep blaming themselves for it. They say, oh, that was my bad. I did that. And they go on to the next project. Not saying that your child's project by any means. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's the thing.
I get it. I get it. And like I said, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know that in all languages, there is only one word on the planet that describes the parent of a child who has died? It's veloma.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a veloma. I looked it up because I was like, it had to be somebody had to have this thing. Only one. I think I can't remember what the origin of the country is,
mm-hmm.
but it's only one. It tells you just how rare of a small club this is.
Mm-hmm. It sounds Italian, but I could be wrong. Latin.
No, it's like European. It's one of those European countries. Mm-hmm. I could look it up, but it's a small. The reason why I say that is because it's difficult for people to see and understand. It's not like when you fail at work.
Right.
It's not like when when your dream dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, it's not even like when a parent dies. It's like all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lost all your money, and it's like if you lost your dream, like a parent, all of your money at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the closest thing that I could give you to what it feels like to have a child die. You don't just go, I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Right. And
it's one of the reasons why I'm. Say what?
I just pulled this up to see, what do they call a parent who has a child that has died? And it says, there's no specific noun for a parent of a dead child. Nothing can describe this. There are no terms for such a loss. Other losses where the child, loses the parent, child becomes an orphan. Or if you lose your spouse, you become a widower. It says no single word exists either for an adult child. It's an awkward phrase, which could suggest a large, floppy, limbed doll, but this does not suffice. Wow.
Sure.
So because that's as people, we think that's unnatural anyway, that the parents should never bury their children. That's why
that is correct.
Call it anything, but they, based off of what you're saying, I'm sure these people call it whatever they call it now. You call it a veloma.
It's called a veloma.
Yeah, you're gonna have me looking this up because I love words and education and learning stuff. I'll be looking this up once we get off of here. But I'm not saying that it's anything like being a leader and losing their work or anything. No,
it's
not at all. But
it's really not. It's because when you see your child for the first time, you see where they could be. You see the possibilities, and you hope, and you go to bed every night praying for their possibilities. I woke up this morning. I prayed for my daughter now, my youngest daughter. Prayed for her this morning.
How old is she?
She's 8. She'll be. Oh no, she'll be 8 this month.
Okay.
She'll be 8 this month. She's coming up on. She's a big girl. She's big.
Tell her to hang on to being a little girl, because when you really get out of big girl life, you gotta pay bills and all kind of other foolishness. I digress.
She's coming up on her. She'll be 8 on the 24th.
But I was gonna tell you that even though you suffered such a tragic loss, I have watched you talk through this, go through this. I've seen your countenance change from when you lost her, to now. And I feel like, this is something that God is placing you to help others heal. And when you say that you had been talking to other men about their losses and allowing them to be vulnerable in a safe space, that's, amazing in itself to be able to do that and suffer that type of loss and still harbor the type of pain, that you had. And I'm going to pray that you learn to forgive yourself, because if you were able to stop, being angry with God and you forgave God, it's like, wait a minute, how can you ask God to forgive you of your sins and you won't even forgive yourself for something that you had no control
on? I'm cognizant. I'm being honest with you. I'm being transparent. I'm cognizant that moment that there's nothing that I can do about it now.
Right.
I'm cognizant of that. I am aware of it. I have accepted it. And I'm hoping that I'll be a better man now than I was then.
But you don't recognize the fact that you are? Do you not see what I see? Because I'm telling you, those first few days.
I'm a work in progress.
Okay.
I reckon, and it's hard. Now, let me say this to you again. When you're living life, you're living life. And so you don't get a chance to go, hey, I don't really look back.
So because I get to watch it, I get to say, hey, look at this, look from here. Okay, I get it. When you're in the picture, it's hard to see yourself if you're not looking at the frame. If you're inside of the frame, I got it.
Yes, yeah. But I'm aware of. I got through a lot of it. Someday I hope to meet this man. What's his name? Oh gosh, I said his name earlier. Said his name to you. Tony Robbins. Yes. Someday I hope to meet that man.
You will. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. You're gonna make it.
But a lot of the things that he was saying got me through. It really did get me through this situation. And when I say, and the thing that was so funny is I was trying to fortify my mind because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. That's always been my thing. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And I was fortifying my mind to do something entrepreneurial. Okay. And I did not know that what I was really doing was gearing up so that I'd be ready for the toughest, the toughest moment in my life when my daughter died. Mm-hmm. And I was just getting ready in my mind, and I was doing all of these mental exercises and stuff like that. And the moment came, and I truly believe that between those lessons and my youngest daughter, that's probably the reason why I was able to make it through.
I got you.
I had the mental architecture to be able to sustain me. Mm-hmm. Just mindfulness, understanding how the mind works, mm-hmm. learning how to feed my mind. There were also some things that my mom taught me just, as a child, to just kind of, that anchored me mm-hmm. through the situations and everything like that. Because, like I said, I lost my daughter. Mm-hmm. My marriage crumbled after that. Mm-hmm. It was not necessarily the strongest to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then, throw in the death of a child breaks good marriages. Like good marriages can, can fall mm-hmm. when a child dies. It happens. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, it's that is usually when it's a breakup usually. Mm-hmm. They don't usually, a lot of marriages don't usually survive that.
Right.
If in fact, if you want to find a strong couple, find a couple that went through that and survived. You want to interview them people. You got to get those people on your show.
I will, because
that would be great, and I think that would be very instructive. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you, they probably had it together before they went through it.
They did, but they're an anomaly. Most people. Yeah, but I have to get him on here. I won't even tell the story, but yes, I do need to get him on here.
But definitely, I would tell you to do that because it's like a bomb dropping, mm-hmm. and our relationship, it crumbled. It crumbled. I'm not gonna blame her. But it crumbled. There was no cheating, at least that I know of. I don't know anything about it. I'm not going look to the best. No.
You don't speculate.
Let me say, what I'm saying is I'm not gonna speculate on that. I'm not gonna sit back and say, she was doing all this other stuff. Because that was not an issue that we had in our relationship.
Yeah. Grief will do that. I mean, grief will
it ripped us apart. And how I became homeless. Mm-hmm. I moved into her life. And I did not want her to think that I was trying to get into her world and take her money. I wasn't about her money. Mm-hmm. And so I said, don't worry about. I said things like, "Don't worry about putting me on the worry about that. We together. We do this forever."
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I was, and it was crazy because I had to move. And the issue that I had was not so much that I didn't have any money. This was the thing that was so crazy. I did lose my job, which was scary enough, but I had started my pallet business. And I remember, which was another thing that was crazy about that time, was that I was unemployed.
Okay.
Unemployment, I don't know about any place else, but the line to call in or to try to access unemployment, to try to do all of it, set it up, it seized up. And I could not get unemployment. I still have never gotten unemployment benefits from 2020. Still never. I signed up for it, never got a phone call back, you know what I'm saying? None of that stuff. I sat on the phone line. I sat on the phone line all day long one day, and it just kept ringing and 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 ringing. And at the end of the day, when it was time for them to go home, they just hung up on me.
Wow.
It just clicked.
Like,
it just clicked.
I don't waste my whole day just to get hung up. I'm like, what's the address? But I guess you couldn't go there because COVID was going on, right?
Yeah, COVID was exploding. And it was crazy because I was trying to go through all of the basic the channels. You know, you go and you talk to the real estate agent. They were done. They weren't taking anybody because people were. And like I said, I don't know, where are you? I mean, I'm in Florida. Specific. Okay. Here in Jersey, did y'all have the body bags?
You know, if they did, I never saw them just because Florida was wide open. You know, the governor was like, yo, here, we don't have to wear masks.
Here in New York and New Jersey, they had refrigerated trucks where they were stacking the bodies.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. I'd have been gone. But like, what is this?
It was so bad that the DMV shut down, which was another part of my life, you know, because I had the truck I sold. The truck, my first truck, actually it was the second truck I had. It was this red truck. I was loading pallets on it and it snapped. Like the frame snapped.
Wow.
Just as an aside, if you ever decide to go into, if you decide to do this pallet business or any business that requires you to haul stuff, and you buy a truck, just make sure that when you buy the truck, the engine is great. So all that stuff is good. Check engine light, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff that you're trained to notice is good. But look underneath the truck and see whether or not the frame is rusty. It's important.
It's very important.
Because what I realized was that it was a strong engine. I remember cutting that thing on. It was like, whoosh, it sounded so good. I was like, oh man, look at this thing. Oh. And then one day I was driving and I looked back and I had my pallets on FYI, I sell pallets in New Jersey. I sell refurbished pallets. Just so you know, that's what I do. Yes, palletportation. I looked back and it looked weird. And I went back there in the back and I realized that it was leaning. And I looked underneath my truck and there was a very large crack in my frame. And I had to get another truck because you can't haul in that. And that's at that point, that was all I was, that was all the money I was making. That was it. That was all I had, because I had no other job. Yep. And I got another pallet. I mean, I bought another pallet truck, another truck to sell pallets in. And the problem that I had was that the DMV was closed.
Yep. You can't get a tag.
And at that point in Jersey, we didn't have online registration and stuff like that. So what I did was I bought another truck that looked with the exact same year, same basic model. It was just a different color.
Mm-hmm.
And I put one tag on one and put the other tag on the other one. So I had tags from, because you got to put the thing on the street. You can't just have no tags on it. So I just had one tag on the back of both of them and just kept on riding like that.
Yep.
And I found out later that at my local DMV, a bunch of people who were in there died, who worked there, died.
Oh, wow.
A bunch of people who worked in my local DMV died. And, because later on things get, hooked back up and they start, opening stuff up and whatnot. But it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. Like Leroy Brown bad. It was LL Cool J bad. It was Michael Jackson bad.
It's bad.
But it was really crazy because we it was weird for me to have folks who, because you're online, because my only connection to the outside world at this point was through social media. And so I'm looking at people on social media who did not necessarily, who were like, this is a hoax. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
What are y'all talking about? And I'm like, yeah, because they lived a lot of specifically people that I knew who were in the South, a lot of people that I know who were in the South were in rural areas. Mm-hmm. So it did not reach them. Not with the speed that it reached us. Right. And, and the way that people were, like I said, people were just, they were like, until you see the refrigerated trucks.
Yeah. They were in denial and disbelief.
I remember right before my company shut us down, because I was a delivery driver, selling food, like not selling food, but delivering food to companies, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember being in New York. This is New York City. Mm-hmm. It looked like a ghost town. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the day. Now this is like March. Now, granted, it's not super warm, but New York is never desolate in the middle of the day.
Right.
It was crazy few people out there on the streets. Mm-hmm. And this is before everything completely, they locked everything down, before everything got shut down. Mm-hmm. People were already like, yo, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. It had that Ghostbusters feel to it.
But the question I have for you, so you were homeless, you had a truck, yeah. You were starting, yeah. How did you get into, moving the pallets? Especially during COVID.
What happened was, like I said, I was a delivery driver. Okay. And I came back to work, and I came back to work too early, to be honest with you. But I needed to do something. I couldn't just be sitting in the house, sitting down there in the midst of my, just being sad with no job. Can't be a black man with no job, just sitting around being sad. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of having a contentious, situation at home. Mm-hmm. And so I went back to work early. Mm-hmm. Much earlier than I probably should have. I wasn't used to it. I ended up having a fender bender mm-hmm. in one of the trucks. They could have fired me. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I try not to say anything really bad about my old job, because they could have fired me at that moment. Mm-hmm. And what they did was they demoted me to what they call a driver's helper, which is a nasty pay cut. And I also knew that with any type of accident, stuff like that, it would have really hampered my ability to try to find another place to be a driver. Plus, like I said, I wasn't ready.
Right.
I needed something super easy. I wasn't ready. But still needed to make up that gap. Mm-hmm. And there was another guy who is my pilot mentor. His name is what's Butch's real name? Oh gosh.
You know how we do. Okay. We make up nicknames and don't know the folk real name. Then when something happens, so and so happened to sister. Okay. Who is that? Oh, that's Butch.
But I would see him coming to work. Mm-hmm. And this was like, I saw him doing this before everything happened with my daughter. Mm-hmm. I would see him, but it was like, he's coming in, he's doing this pallet thing, whatever, I'm in my own world, but when my situation changed, I pulled up on him and was like, yo, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Mm-hmm. And I signed on to work with him for one particular day. I sat down, I took notes. I asked him all types of questions, just sat there, peppered him with questions. How do you do this? What are they looking for? How much is the and I asked him a ton of questions. Mm-hmm. And I remember I still had my Ford Explorer at that particular point. Mm-hmm. And I was, my first day out, I went and grabbed a bunch of pallets. I think I grabbed 15 pallets. I had 5 in the trunk, and I had, my first day out, I think I just had like 5. Mm-hmm. I just had like 5 my first day. And I took it to one place, and it was like, that's just junk. We're not buying that. That's just junk. I took it to another place, and how you talk about that's just God? There's this Spanish guy in Newark, New Jersey. His name is John. It's always been a dude named John who's just kind of, in my life, dudes named John just come up a lot in my life. I don't know what that's about. Just in my story in here. Mm-hmm. Because one of my just business mentors who got me through my divorce was a guy named John. And he just helped me, like, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. This is a lawyer you need to go see. This is how you set up your business. This is, asking him all the, that's one guy. And then my pallet mentor, my other pallet mentor was this guy named John up in Newark. And he had his own pallet company. And they took my pallets. And bigger than that, he allowed me to pick his brain. And he also showed me what was possible. Because he built his business from nothing. Mm-hmm. And now he has, to be honest with you, he has enough land, because I went to see his pallet yard. Mm-hmm. He has enough land to probably put a basketball stadium in it.
Oh, wow.
In Newark. Mm-hmm. In Newark, New Jersey. That's impressive.
It is extremely impressive.
That's impressive. In the city of Newark, where, property is not cheap.
Right. And it's not very much of it.
Yes. He got a lot. Mm-hmm. And I was able to sit back and look at it and go, wow. He is, I was like, you did all this? You did all this selling that?
Yep. And he was like, yeah. You can too.
Yeah, I mean, well, he didn't, he didn't give me the "and you can too." He just he gave me the look. This is what's possible.
Right.
Yes, this is possible. Mm-hmm. And he was also. I don't think I'm be too out of school, because I haven't told you his last name, so I can just tell. He was also somebody who had also lost a child. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of sort of, I don't know, I believe that may be one of the reasons that he kind of sort of took pity on me. Because been in my situation. And, you know, got good with that. You know, I would come every day. Like I said, started out with the Ford Explorer. So I was bringing 15 pallets a day. And I would, you know, go before work. Now, mind you, I had to be out on my job site at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I had to go find pallets, drive an hour to this particular location. He allowed me to drop my stuff off early in the morning, and then I would just come pick the money up when I got off of work. And so I just had to take pictures of it and send him the pictures so that he knew that it was me. And, you know, which was completely trusted on my part and his part.
Yeah.
And it was cool. We didn't have any issues. And I got better. Repetition. I got another truck, which was so crazy because, you know, the Ford Explorer eventually broke. And I remember I sent out, this was tough. I remember I sent out I took the money that I had from selling pallets, and I really hadn't messed with it. I was just holding on to it. And it wasn't a whole lot in the beginning. Like I said, I was selling 15 pallets a day. It wasn't a whole lot. But I remember I took the money that I had and I sent out a text message to the people on my phone. And I said, if I needed, I think it was like $100 to save my life, could you get it to me? And I remember, not trying to shame anybody, but I remember 2 people sent the money. And it was just enough for me to get, with the money that I had saved up, to get my first pickup truck. And you know, one of them, you know, I'm hoping he won't mind me saying this because people he knows know you. You know Victoria. He was one of them. It was him and my cousin. I will never be more grateful to somebody who is a non-family member than I am to that